Hello everyone and welcome back to Beatles Beatles channel. Lovely to have you here. Thanks for joining me for this video and I hope you're all doing well. Now, as you know, on this channel I like to bring you some breaking news whenever some comes, and there is a little bit more breaking news just dropping today. If I'm absolutely honest, it's a little bit disappointing, and for those of you that haven't just switched off the video after that last sentence, I'd like to share what I know with you. Now, you may remember back in February, March time, Dhani Harrison made a big announcement of the collaboration between Dark Horse Records and BMG Music Group. Whereas the whole of the Dark Horse back catalogue was now under the BMG umbrella for distribution. And in that press release, when he announced it, he said, we're going to open the archives. We're going to open the archives and give you what we can get away with, was his actual words. And from the news that has just dropped, it doesn't seem that that is the case. So let me tell you what they have just announced. So on the 8th of September, so just a couple of weeks time, they're going to be releasing his entire back catalogue on vinyl, apart from All Things Must Pass and a few compilations. I'll come back to that in a minute. And 5 CDs. Why just 5? I don't know. The 5 CDs that are coming out are Living in the Material World, Electronic Sound, Dark Horse, Extra Texture, and the eponymous George Harrison self-titled album. So those 5 are coming out on CD, and they're very specific about which remaster for each of those CDs. The Living in the Material World is the 2006, and that was the package where they gave us that you know, the extra material. Dark Horse is 2014 remaster, so is Extra Texture, and George Harrison is the 2004 remaster. Now, with the LPs, they're not specific at all about which version it is. It doesn't say anything about remastering. For all we know, it could be a reissue of the analog albums. Maybe that is why they haven't specified the remaster. And if that is the case, then I'm sure some people will be interested in those. But I suspect that the vinyl reissue is the 2017 remaster that came out. You know, there was the big box, and you could buy each album separately as well. So I think that is probably what they're giving us. Now, the only difference between that and what we got in the only difference between what we got in 2017 and what we might be getting now is it's possible, because the albums that originally released on Apple, namely Living in the Material World, Extra Texture, and Dark Horse, could possibly be coming out now with a Dark Horse label, which also might interest people that are, you know, interested in getting different versions with different labels on it. I'm not sure about that. They haven't specified that would be the case, but it's possible that that is what they were doing. But if you remember, those 3 albums didn't have the the official Apple label, you know, with the actual green apple and the white apple on the back, or the split apple on the back. They all had custom labels. So if they're going to replace those custom labels with just the plain old Dark Horse label, that's a little bit disappointing as well, because you know, they're not issuing them in their original sort of format, I suppose. Now, who's going to be interested in reissues of these albums on vinyl? Well, possibly the CD generation, people that, you know, came to George Harrison's back catalogue, you know, in the 90s, and, you know, where LPs were not that easy to find, and you know, haven't got these records on vinyl. But, you know, to be honest, the reason why they've said that they're releasing it is because they're out of print, and they are out of print. They're not printing any more of these, or haven't done for quite a while now. But if you go onto Amazon, you can pick up pretty much all of these albums on vinyl, the 2017 remaster, and at pretty reasonable prices as well. Some of them £17-18 each. So you know, I'm wondering who is gonna buy these now. I've bought a couple of those the remasters. I've got Wonderwall as a remaster, and I've got Brainwashed, and I've got Living in the Material World. Those are the 2017 remasters that I've bought subsequently. But all the rest of my George Harrison albums are all ones that I bought in the 70s and 80s. So, you know, some of them are a little bit battered. So I might pick up one of these, maybe Dark Horse or something like that, just to see if there's any difference, or you know, how it's presented and that sort of thing. And obviously if I do that, then I will show it here on the channel, and then we'll get a better idea of exactly what we're getting with these reissues. But you know, when he said, let's, you know, we're going to open the archives, you know, that said to me, you know, they're going to give us a, you know, like a box set for each of these albums over time, obviously. But I'm thinking, you know, maybe a remix, you know, a nice lavish book and some sessions and outtakes. And that doesn't seem to be the case, or not with these initial releases anyway. You know, this year, as you know, 2023 is the 50th anniversary of Living in the Material World. A perfect opportunity to give us a box set, just like the All Things Must Pass one with a book and sessions and stuff like that. You know, if you say you're opening the archives, then open the archives and give us all that unreleased material that we know that you have. But that doesn't seem to be the case. This announcement, I would say, almost certainly puts a stop to any thoughts about there being a Living in the Material World anniversary box this year. I mean, they could do it in the future, but it just won't be an anniversary. That doesn't matter so much as long as we get it, but it doesn't look like it's happening now. And I thought that maybe, being the 50th anniversary, that would be something that we would get this year. Why? You know, I think they've missed a trick there, and why they have, I don't know. I mean, I think that all these albums, you know, are precious, and they need to be celebrated in some way or other. But maybe it's just Beatles and George Harrison fans that think that. Maybe even Danny and Dark Horse Records don't think that, you know, these albums deserve this sort of lavish package, and if they do, then that's a real shame. But you know, I'm sure there's plenty of people that would like that sort of package, but people, you know, how many of us are going to actually just buy a reissue of something that we've already got, even if it's on a different label? Interesting, I think. Things that aren't included as part of this reissue, there is no concert for Bangladesh included in this, so no reissue of that, although the other live album, the Live in Japan 1992 double album, that is part of the vinyl reissue package that they're putting out, because it was part of that box set. So that is coming out. But all the compilations are not included. So the best of George Harrison from 1976, that's not coming out. The best of Dark Horse 1976 to 1989, that's not included. Let It Roll, that best of George Harrison compilation, is not coming out, and nor is Early Takes Volume 1. And it's a bit of a shame, because some of those are quite difficult to find on vinyl, whereas the main catalogue is not that difficult to find. So, you know, as I say, it's disappointing news as far as I'm concerned. You know, I think they've missed a trick, which is a shame. But I'd love to hear what you think about this. You know, this announcement. You know, maybe if you have only got the CDs and you want to get the albums, and this is a good way to get them. Maybe if you're kind of like me and have got original. You're still playing your original George Harrison albums that you bought in the 70s and 80s, then maybe, you know, it's time for an update. I don't know. But do tell me about it down in the comments. You know, I read all your comments and I will respond to all your comments. Okay, that is it for me. I'm still waiting for the news on the red and the blue. As soon as that drops, I will be all over it. So please stay tuned for that. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you all very soon. Bye-bye.